Hi, I'm Jeff Peiffer.
And I'm his daughter, Rachel Trettin, and together we own multiple businesses.
People often ask, how did you acquire so many businesses and what's it like to run so many businesses?
So we have created this podcast, the Uncommon Success Podcast, where we talk about our businesses and just the daily life of living together.
And we hope you enjoy the podcast, and it involves humor and design and entrepreneurship and how to run businesses successfully. We hope you enjoy the podcast.
Welcome back to the Uncommon Success Podcast. I'm here today with my brother, Branden. Dad's not here. It's just you and me today.
Yeah.
What do you think? This is your first podcast. You excited?
First podcast. Yeah, I guess. Excited. I don't know what to expect.
I mean, I remember a little while ago you were talking about maybe starting a podcast. So who knows? Maybe this will be the start of something new for you.
There you go. Doors are open.
So we're going to go way back to be in this podcast because we grew up with the same parents, and I think we had the same childhood, but I think maybe our experiences were a little different. So I'm curious to hear your perspective of growing up in a family with parents who are entrepreneurs. So what is your earliest memory of like mom and dad having a business?
Well, it's got to be the corn maze.
Okay.
When we were real little.
Yeah.
Because they had the Coventry ice cream parlor.
Yeah, that was before I was born.
Yeah, I
Way
wasn't even
before
a
you
thought
were,
back then. Yeah. So the maze would have been the first one over in Royersford. I just remember being out there in the summertime, pulling corn.
You
at
did?
Like
you helped?
10 or 11. Yeah.
10 or 11?
It was just free child labor. Yeah.
So that was your first memory?
Yeah,
of it.
that's where the back problems started. That's for
back
sure.
Problems?
Out there pulling the corn by hand. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So like my first childhood memory of the corn maze was that business as well, but that was up in Schuylkill Haven, and I was probably 6 at the time.
Yeah. So I would have been.
So did you not?
3.
You probably have no memory of that.
No.
That location.
Not at all. I remember hearing about it, but no.
Yeah.
No.
Huh. So yeah, after there they moved to Royersford, but that's amazing. Like 10. So you like remember probably the end tail
Towards
of
the
that
end,
business.
yeah. Well,
'Cause
that's
they were
when
there
I was
8 years?
working there. I wasn't really working. They had me out there corn policing. I was 10 years old yelling at 18-year-olds.
10 years old. Were you with like a staff, or did they let you in there?
Yeah,
okay.
me and is it Matt something?
Matt,
I can't remember.
yep.
Yeah, yeah, it was me and him. We'd just be running around out there. Yep.
Yeah, he was the guy that I was always paired with as well. He was a good guy. He actually, fun fact, when I reopened the business at 18 years old, I somehow got in contact with him and hired him to work for me at the corn maze.
Really?
Yeah, in
Which
Pottstown
one?
when I
Pottstown,
was
yeah.
renting the land. Yeah, so it was
Interesting.
wild having mom and dad's old employee
Yeah.
come back when I owned the business.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you helped pull the corn. And that was before, so when mom and dad had it there, they didn't have a GPS to design the maze. Like,
Oh, no.
we pulled it by hand.
We were out there with, I think he had like a stake he would put in the ground and like a string and
To make a
or
circle.
something. Yeah,
if we were
and then
making
you would
circles.
just go around and, with all the SpongeBob designs.
Yeah,
it was all the
SpongeBob was
bubbles.
blowing bubbles, and there were
Yeah.
like circles
Yeah,
everywhere.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were they good memories? Like, I guess pulling leaves doesn't sound fun. But were your memories like happy memories? Like, wow, this was a fun place to be? Or were your memories more like, ugh, I'm stuck here again?
I think when I was that young, it wasn't really work, so it was just, that's just what we did. That was our day-to-day.
Yeah.
I think the older I got, it was a little bit different when it comes to that, like
Yeah.
going through like owning the dairy and all that stuff.
Let's go there. So after the corn maze closed,
Yeah.
I think Dad actually got like a 9-to-5 job. Like driving.
Yeah, you driving truck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he was also the like manager of a maintenance department of the apartment building.
Yeah, I think that
complex.
was brief.
It was
right?
very brief. It was
Yeah.
like 6 months, I think.
Yeah.
So he like for a brief season didn't own anything,
Yeah.
and then he ended up I don't even know, not buying, but buying a business and then renting the building to do the ice cream parlor, restaurant, and petting zoo known as the Dairy.
Yeah.
So how old were you then when that business took place?
Probably middle school?
I think you were like 13.
Yeah. 13, 14 was
Yeah.
my first like job, dishwashing.
Real job, being
Yeah.
a dishwasher. And how was
Yeah.
that?
That was my least favorite job. The free ice cream was probably the only benefit of it. But other than that, that was not fun. I think that changed my whole outlook on work in general. Just kind of starting at such a young age. It's like, as I've gotten older, my life has started revolving less around like work and more about how can I make my job work for me and how can I do stuff with my job. Like, how can I either find something that I'm passionate about or...
It's okay. So we're being interrupted by my kids.
And the dog.
They're coming out to our studio. They want mom, and the dog comes in. What do you need, boys?
I need Uncle Brandon.
You need Uncle Brandon. Why do you need Uncle Brandon?
For their game.
Earn a new car.
You're trying to earn a car on Uncle Brandon's video game?
We have enough to get a really fast car.
Okay, but honey, Mommy and Uncle Brandon we're recording a podcast, so you're gonna have to wait till we're done. You're gonna have to wait to buy that car till we're done.
Fine.
You're
Call-
gonna buy a car
call
with
the
my
dog.
money?
Call the dog.
Car on
Yeah.
Cooper, go home.
the dog.
Come. Come.
Alrighty. So there's that.
Well, everybody got to meet my dog now.
Everybody got to meet Cooper. He's a great farm dog.
Oh, yeah.
So you were saying that kind of changed your perspective.
Yeah, like I feel like the older I get, the less work I actually want to do and the more anything else as far as like whether it's traveling or sports, whatever. Like I kind of want to I want to use my job
As a way
to get me to where I want to be.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, my perspective's changed a lot, but I feel like when I was younger, it was like, put your head down and get to work. And I think there's good in that, but there's definitely more to life for me than just like having it revolve around work. So
Sure.
that's definitely where I'm at, because I'm just in a weird time in my life now where it's, I mean, you never really figure out what you want, I feel like.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's I don't know, it's funny. You always think once you reach a certain point in your life, you're going to be at a certain spot in your life, but
Yeah.
that never really happens.
For
So,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I had like kind of the same thought process just days ago about my life with the like where we're at. So right now I have the corn maze and it's going well, but I don't really, this is terrible to say on the podcast, but like I don't really enjoy being there all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun. Like, when I'm there, like, it can be fun, but it's not where I want to spend the majority of my time.
Right.
Like, I used to be super passionate about it, and I enjoyed being there, like, all day, 3 days in a row, putting in, like, 40, 50 hours a weekend,
Right.
and then having a full-time job during the week to help mom and dad with their businesses. But, I don't know, like, I'm kind of shifting gears. It's like, I like the idea of the corn maze because it's my business. Like, I own it, and I take pride in, like, having my own business.
Yeah.
And, like, it's my thing, and I can grow it, and hopefully it will eventually provide income, like, far more income that, like, a 9-to-5 job would. Like, I'm not capped. That's what I like about the corn maze, is that it's, like, I can build it up, and then the sky's the limit. Like, I'm not capped at, like, whatever a 9-to-5 job would pay me. But at the same time, it's not like my true passion. Like, my true passion is like, I love designing, like interior design, making something ugly turn beautiful. Like, that is like, for me, it doesn't feel like work. The corn maze, it feels like work. Like, I'm building a business and it feels like work. It's still great, and I'm not going to quit the business. Like, it's a great thing for the community, and like the response that I'm getting is great. Like, I'm just at a point where I'm not there all the time anymore. I'm refocusing. Like, I want to spend more time with my kids. I don't want to work all the time. Like, I want to raise my kids. And like, now with mom and her health not doing well, like, I can't rely on her to watch my kids. Like, I should be with my kids. So definitely a big pivot in my life too. It's like a weird transition. Like, I want to spend more time doing the things that I love doing. And like, the corn maze quote unquote job is going to provide the money for me to, like, even just my house, my personal home, like I can put money into it and like enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
It's like a vessel for a passion.
Yeah. And I think you gotta, like you said, like have that job to fund what you want to do. And like we live in a weird time now with like social media the way that it is. Like everybody sees what's out there.
Yeah.
And like they're like, oh, this is where I want to be. I want to like, and you feel like you're failing if you're not there.
Sure.
But like you're not. There's nothing wrong in working a normal job and doing what you want to do, like just to try to get to where you want to be. And that's like something that's funny that you said that, because like I'm also evaluating where I'm at now, and it's like you can only control what you can control. So it's an interesting topic. I don't know. I always, for the last like couple years, I felt pressure to whether it was like make more money or be somewhere different in my life. And it's like, why do I feel this way? Like I should just be grateful to be awake right now and even have a job. So yeah, I'm just kind of like, you know what? I need to find the simple pleasures in just the day to day. Yeah. With I'm not gonna be a millionaire overnight. You know what I mean? Right. And like if it's a lot of people's goals. They wanna just make a ton of money and they think it's gonna bring them happiness. But like that's not necessarily it. Like so. Yeah, I'm just, again, like I'm trying to personally, I mean, you know, I'm moving out to a new place here in next week, hopefully, if they don't push my date back again.
Yeah.
But like
I'll be
just
there
kind
to
of
design it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you can come
wait.
you can come help out with that. That's for sure. Cuz I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, I mean, I'm just a fresh start, I guess you could call it, but I don't know, just kind of refocus. I want to refocus myself, I guess. And I don't know, I feel like it's going to be a big turning point in my life.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm just anxious over it. I don't know what it is, but I'm just excited about it. So, and I think it's going to be a good thing. Yeah. So.
Good. Well, I'm excited. I'm not excited that you're moving so far away. Like a 35-minute drive is not cool. You already lived far away. So when you moved home to mom and dad's, like for this transition, it's like, I loved having you here. I got to, like, you worked in the dining room. My office is across the hall, and I walk by you like 20 times a day.
Yeah.
Hi.
It's been a weird month. That's for sure. It's been a weird month. It's been a weird last 4 months.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy summer.
Yeah.
So.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, transition is sometimes hard. It's also sometimes good, sometimes necessary, and yeah. I mean,
see how it goes.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, even transition with a job or a business, like Dad and I are selling the horse ranch. Like, that's a huge transition for us. It's necessary, especially, like I mentioned just briefly, Mom went to the hospital last night. Appears that she had a miniature heart attack, and there's heart problems. She's probably currently getting a procedure done as we're doing this podcast. And I was actually thinking about that as we started talking. I'm like, Mom would love to hear this podcast with the two of us talking. She would love this. So, you know, like with her health being so unstable, it's kind of like we can't keep doing life the way we're doing it right now. So it's necessary to sell a business. It's necessary to close a chapter, but you never know what the future's gonna hold.
Sure.
You know, we bought that farm. It was a mess. It was a disaster, and made it pretty. And we're not, you know, this could be the first farm we flip, and we might film a reality show called Flipping Farms. You just like never know. You know, you never know. I think being willing to be open to change, like even in a regular job like you work a 9 to 5 at a job, you're not like super happy there, but like you're trying to be content in the day to day. It's like, well, you just never know. Like,
I'm definitely, it's not that I'm not happy there. Actually, this is probably my favorite job that I've had.
Okay.
Just because it gives me the freedom working from home to
that's huge.
Be able to do other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just all my other jobs I've driven an hour to get to. So that's an extra 2 hours on top of your 8 hours. You get home, you don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
So I actually really enjoy this because it gives me opportunity to do other stuff that I want to do. That and the money's better. So.
And you save on gas money.
Yeah, I,
mean,
don't have
that
to
adds
drive
up, too.
anywhere. That is very nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, so you, backing up to the dishwasher job again.
Oh boy.
So I worked there at the dairy.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely every weekend. And like, I remember coming there after school and working in the evenings. Yeah. But I don't remember you being there that much. And I don't know if it's because like you were in the back and I was like working the counter out front, or if you weren't there often.
No, I mean, I was there, I want to say at least 3 days a week. And then on the weekends,
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
My mom would bring me over after school. I don't know. Did you drive there?
So.
Or how'd you get there?
Yeah. So the first year I was 15 or maybe 16 and 17. It was like a weird, like the first year I didn't drive, and then I did get my car and my license, and I drove the second year that we owned that business. So the year I didn't drive, like the first year we had it, I went to private school. So dad or mom picked me up from school and then it just took me right there.
Yeah,
after school.
No, mama would take me there.
So that's why mom would drive you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're talking like I would work like an hour or two a day.
Okay. And then
it
what? Who would
wasn't a
take
lot,
you
but
home?
I was also like 13.
Yeah.
But who would take me out? No, we'd stay till close. Like I would work after school and then eat dinner.
Right. We had I remember family dinners there. And we could order anything off the menu.
Well, that's what happens when you own the place, I guess.
Yeah, it was great. What was your go-to meal?
Oh, what was the hoagie?
Hoagie,
the
really?
burger with the burger hoagie.
A burger hoagie.
Do you remember
I don't even
that?
remember that now.
It was like the Family Time Farm sandwich or something.
I didn't even know we had our own sandwich.
It was huge. It was like a full size, like a foot long, and it had 2 burger patties.
Oh my.
It was the one cook, Jason, I think, came up with it.
Okay.
And it was the 2 burger patties and then just like condiments from a burger. Like I don't think there was ketchup and mustard, but there was like mayo.
Okay.
Pickle, like everything, just like almost like a cheesesteak hoagie. It's like a cheesesteak hoagie, but with a burger on it.
Interesting. You would think I would know this.
That was the go-to. That was so much food. I was so full after that.
Wow. I don't think I even had that ever.
Really?
Really?
That was my favorite. I
remember
that at least
like
once
seeing
a
it
week.
piled and like delivering it to tables now that you say that, but I forget. It's fun like talking this out with you because I have totally different memories than you.
You were older. You actually like scooped ice creams. You were friends with like the people that worked there. Like,
yeah.
I was a child.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was still on the younger side. There were employees that were definitely older than me, and I felt intimidated by some of them, or they didn't. My perception was they thought that I was, I don't know. They were kind of snobby towards me.
The owner's daughter, she could do whatever she wants.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But my feelings and perception could be wrong. But yeah, I just remember, oh my goodness, the ice cream machine, the soft serve ice cream machine, having to take it apart and clean it. Mom cleaned that thing meticulously. Tiny little washers you had to like pry off with knives and like wash each little washer. I mean, like, it was very time consuming. And I remember being scared out of my mind leaving there at night, like when we closed and finally like walked to the car because it was pitch black out there. And I was just always picturing.
We didn't have lights in the parking lot?
They were kind of, sort of.
It couldn't be that dangerous. We were in Ole.
So do you remember?
Who's going to come get you? A cow?
Do you remember?
There's nothing out there.
It got robbed. Do you remember we got robbed?
No.
The dairy?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, somebody broke through the window, right?
Yes, you do remember.
Yeah. I do remember that.
So you never know.
Yeah. Okay, I remember that now.
Do you remember what he did or what he took?
Money, probably.
No, that's the funny thing. He broke in the window next to into the ice cream side of things.
Yeah, I remember.
And he walked by our tip jar, which was full. Dad counted it later. It was like $50, $100, like in it.
Wow.
It was like, okay, not a tip jar. I think it was the donation jar for like the petting zoo.
Sure.
So he walked by all the money, like didn't even take the money. And then he went over to the restaurant side, made himself a cappuccino, sat down at the bar and drank his cappuccino, and then he took a Slim Jim on the way out. And he was there for like hours.
That's crazy. I mean,
yep.
Who does that?
somebody in Ole, so you never know. It was.
I guess there's not much to do out there. That's crazy. I didn't know that he did that. I do remember the Slim Jim for some reason. I do remember us talking about that. I didn't know he made coffee.
Yeah, it was a cappuccino. I used the cappuccino machine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Of all the things to take.
Yeah.
Did he at least leave the mug behind when he was done?
All right. Probably. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if we have that surveillance footage somewhere. That'd be so funny.
Yeah.
So the next business Mom and Dad had after that was what? I guess Heat for Less, our heater company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what is your work experience there?
What isn't my work experience there? Everything.
Yeah.
Gosh. That was my least favorite, but that's the one where I put the most time in.
I was going to say, is it a love or hate? But you got to that before I even asked the question.
Oh,
what don't you like about it?
Hostile work environment. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
No, I think it was. I think I was too young when I first started working there. Still.
Okay. How old were you then?
I mean, I was still a teenager.
Right. I was gonna say like 18.
18?
Maybe? Like
yeah.
Right out of high school. You worked there. Okay.
Right. On and off for a while. Like I did other stuff in between.
Yeah.
I was just too young for the responsibility, I think, when it first started. Like, when I first started there.
Okay.
Because it was like, I don't know. Like, it's tough when you work for your parents because, like, it almost doesn't feel like a job. It almost feels like you're either doing them a favor or they're doing you a favor.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, it's like, well, I appreciate you guys giving me this job and helping me out, but then it's also like, well, I got a job somewhere else. Like, I feel like I'm doing this to help you now, and like I don't really want to be doing this on the side or whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you can attest to that because you still help out with Heat for Less.
Yeah.
So
Heat for Less is who writes my paycheck, but I work for every business that they have. Yeah.
And I think again, like when I first, well, I don't even know. I guess when I first started, I was more of like the repair side.
Okay.
So it was a lot of like, because that was when it was still Eden Pure. So I did a lot of repair stuff there when I first started. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I guess I moved to the sales. So I did a lot, like kind of like what you did, like with the shows and stuff.
Okay.
So I did one or two. I don't know how many it was, but I did a lot of like cold calling. And like, I feel like
You did?
I feel like I was young for that. Yeah, it was before. It was like
stores.
I was there as they were trying to get into Ace Hardware's like big facility, like the main facility.
So you did all of the hard work then, pretty much.
Listen, I don't want to take credit for it.
I mean, I didn't get us into the warehouses.
No.
We were in the warehouses. So like for me, like I worked Heat for Less when it first started. Mm-hmm. Like. And then I was doing what you said. I took a job and left the business. And it's weird how, like, we didn't overlap. No. Like, you worked there when I wasn't there. And then when I came back, you had gone.
Yeah.
So, I really have no idea what you did. This is why I'm asking.
It was a lot of sales stuff. So, it was a lot of calling different stores and trying to contact the owners.
Okay.
And, like, just talk to them.
Okay. And,
like, be like, hey, do you want to buy our heater? And whatever it might be. And like, the whole script and like the sales script and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of that. And then like, then I left around the time we got into Ace. Yeah.
Okay.
Like right after we got in, I went to a show with Dad, and then I took another job somewhere else.
Because Dad probably got sick, left you run the show by yourself.
That did happen.
Yeah, that happened to me on the last show as well. I ran most of the show myself. He was in bed and didn't feel well.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny how that conveniently happens when we're away on a show.
Yeah, there's actually a funny story about that, too.
Oh, do tell.
The Ace Hardware show.
Yeah. You were in Chicago, weren't you?
No, this was in Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta. Okay.
So we were in Atlanta, and it was pretty cool because the convention was like in the main area, I guess. Like it's kind of like Philly where all their sports stadiums are in one spot. Mm-hmm. So like that's how it is in Atlanta. So like the show was there, but it's nothing to do with being at the show. The last night before the last morning, so it was like Saturday into Sunday.
Okay.
I go out to eat by myself because Dad's not feeling well, so
That's terrible.
He stayed in the he stayed in the hotel.
He never eats on those shows.
Yeah.
Ever.
So he stays at the hotel, and I go out to eat, and I finished eating, and I come back out, and like, it's funny because like I met somebody while I was there. Like I went to Ruby Tuesday.
Okay.
And was sitting down, ate my food. Somebody came up to me as I was eating, like got to talking to them. And then they're like, "Oh, you want to go over here? Like next door, there's another place." I'm like, all right, cool. Went out and like hung out with this person for like an hour or two, and then I went back to the car.
You had a
and
car?
we were
you drove.
we took dad's Suzuki.
Oh boy.
If you remember that car.
Yeah, I remember that car.
So we took that, and then I go back to the car to drive back to the hotel. The door's locked, and I don't have a key in my pocket. So I was like, crap. Where, like, what happened to the key?
Oh, no.
And I'm freaking out.
Oh, my goodness.
And, I mean, lo and behold, it's like, I don't know, it's probably like 11 o'clock p.m. Like, it's late by now because it was after dinner. Whatever.
And then you went out, yeah.
And then I remembered, I was like, Dad keeps a spare key in the tire.
Oh.
Like, on the back of those Suzukis with the spare tire on the back. And I was like, there has to be one in there. I was like, there has to be.
And wasn't
so getting that wheel cover off, that wheel cover had never been off, and this car is like 10 years old.
It was,
So I could not get this wheel. I'm standing in a parking lot. It's raining. Of course it's raining.
Of course.
And I'm trying to pull this thing off and like eventually get in there. Spare keys in there. I locked the keys in the car.
Oh, jeez. Well, that's good. Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yeah,
What a
and
story.
I never told Dad that story, which is funny.
He's
'cause I
gonna
didn't want him
find
to
out
know.
when he
And then like I went back to the hotel, and like Dad was already asleep, and it was a mess. I was soaked, like it was pouring down rain.
Well, that's what you get for locking the key in the car.
Yeah. It was not fun. It
Oh
was not
my
fun.
goodness.
And then I always joked that his punishment was making me go to work. The show by myself the next day. That was my punishment for locking the keys in the car.
Yep. That's so funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was like the end of the Heat for Less then as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And that's the end of like working for Mom and Dad, really. Ever since then, you've been...
Yeah, pretty
working,
much. Just out here, just figuring it out.
So you have like a typical like 9 to 5 or whatever right now.
Yeah.
But growing up with parents who are entrepreneurs, did that like make you want to own a business, or was it more of like a turn off? Like, no, I'd actually rather not the responsibility and have a 9 to 5.
That's a good question. There's a little bit of both. Like I think having that the fact that Dad owns so many businesses made me realize how, I don't want this to come across the wrong way, but how easy it is to do if you just do it.
Yeah.
And like, part of me, it's I want to do something, but like I do enjoy working for somebody else too, because it does take a lot off your shoulders.
Yeah. For
somebody that's seen it firsthand and how it affects just your family and everything in general.
For sure.
So it definitely makes it a lot easier working a typical 9 to 5 job. Mm-hmm. But I think if you find something you're passionate about, I think you should also go chase it.
Yeah.
And like I feel like either I haven't found it yet, or I haven't found the right way to start a business in it. Like I don't really know. Like I know what I would love to do. Like I would love to get into like coaching and stuff like that, but I don't.
Oh, you'd be so good at that.
But I don't have experience doing it. I don't.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really even know where to start with some of that.
So
like
you don't know where to start. Dad having a corn maze business, had never had a corn maze in his life.
Exactly.
He didn't know where to start.
Knows nothing about farming or anything like that.
We still don't farm our own farm.
Yeah.
We're wannabe farmers. We're not farmers.
Right.
So, like, this is to anybody listening. Like, I grew up in the corn maze industry, and so I had one up on pretty much everybody else because I had my dad as a resource.
Yeah.
He was able to tell me, oh, this is like where you start. This is how you get going.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe for you in coaching, if you find somebody who is doing what you want to do, like who is a coach.
You find a mentor or something.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. And like be like, hey, like I'm interested in this, and like ask if you can shadow them or help them, and like just take them out, like buy them dinner and like say, hey, how should I get started in this?
Yeah. Well, and I think it's a lot of it for me personally it's funny because I think a lot of it is like the financial end of it, like taking the risk to just do it. Yeah. Is the hardest thing. But it's like at the same time it's funny, one of my favorite podcasters, he's a comedian, his one saying is nothing changes if nothing changes.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's like you're never gonna do something unless you actually go do it. You can talk about it, you can want to do it.
Yeah. But
yeah, that's funny. That always kind of stuck with me because it's like I know what I want to do.
Yeah.
But I also want to be able to build a life for myself, and that 9 to 5 definitely. I think there's a lot of good in that too that people don't talk about enough. You can live a happy life doing that.
Yeah, sometimes I'm envious of that. To bring it full circle, like I was saying, I was just reevaluating my life, and it's like
you know where your next check is coming from.
You know,
like there's a lot of grind in the whole corporate life and trying to work your way up, and you know, like.
Well, even that's different than owning a business, because you're kind of guaranteed a paycheck. Like for me and the corn maze, like we are going into our 4th weekend to open the season, and we've closed every single weekend we've been open, or like been open one day out of the weekend and closed the rest because it's been raining. So like I'm literally not making any money yet, and I'm like, okay, it's not just like, oh, I'm not getting paid, but it's like, how am I going to pay my staff? Like there's so much stress that like if I worked a 9 to 5, I wouldn't have to worry like, oh, are my staff going to be taken care of? Because they're like super important to me. Like they're relying on me for their income.
It can be a lot more rewarding.
It is. It's definitely
like, do you not
rewarding.
feel like it's rewarding for you?
Oh, it totally is rewarding.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, I love being able to invest, especially, like, the high school girls in particular. Like, I love having them work for me so I can kind of just pour into them. Like, I've been in high school. Like, I'm, you know, able to kind of relate to some capacity to what they're going through and just encourage them. Like, the high schoolers these days are so pressured to go to college.
Even we had that. I mean,
you did.
I remember having that.
I don't. And I guess that's because maybe like the only reason I thought about college was to meet a husband. So like I wasn't going to get the education. And
I mean, I went to college to play soccer. I didn't care about school.
Right. That's true. Good point.
I think everybody has different motives for it. But yeah, like you said, it's almost like you're like it is peer pressure. Like all my friends were like, yeah, I'm going here. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, I need a year off. Like I was like, I hated high school.
Oh, me too.
I don't want to turn around and go right back to school.
Yeah.
Like I'm good. Yeah. I'm going to take a year off and figure out, because like how many of those people went to school and just they don't use their degree? Like it's,
and how much money they spent.
I would say it's probably 60% of people. That's a random number. I don't know. But like go to school and they're not in the same field, like whatever it is. It's like, I understand that it can definitely help you get a job, especially if you want to go to a specific career or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But it was not for me. And like I went for a year and I was like, this is not for me.
Well, I will say you played great soccer. I loved going to your soccer games and watching you play.
Yeah, it was fun. That
was fun.
Yeah. I miss playing competitively like that. Now I'm just old.
Oh, please. You're not old. If you're old, then I'm old. Well, thank you for joining me on this podcast. I think we need to wrap it up because we have other plans this evening. But we're going to have you back on. This was super fun, just sitting and chatting, and who knows, maybe this will start something for you. You're going to grow a following on our podcast, and they're going to be requesting your own podcast. There you go. I might have to do what the guy in the Oly Dairy did and just steal your equipment, and then I'll be good to go. Well, you can use it anytime. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next podcast. We hope that you've enjoyed listening to our podcast, and that although Dad and I are ordinary people, we have had success, which is kind of uncommon, hence the name Uncommon Success Podcast. And hope you leave inspired to dream big dreams and to go after your dreams. I couldn't have said it any better myself. See you in the next podcast.